And we are back to the number one UFC picks podcast in the world, No Brainer MMA. Got a gambling problem? Try winning. We're going to get right into this. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. Burns is back already after making a quick turnaround after a dominant first round sub over Neil Magny back in January of this year. And before that, he had a banger of a fight against Hazmat Chimaev and razor thin fight of the night, where honestly, he ended up losing on the scorecards. I was surprised it was wasn't a split decision or something. It was that close. And I think I was one of the people that were, on the slight side of Burns. And I know this is going to sound like kind of like a backhanded compliment, but I think Burns is a very, very high level gatekeeper. I really do think he's one of the best welterweights on the planet right now. I just don't think that he can beat like the top three guys like Usman, Colby, Chimaev. I do think he can beat Chimaev. I do honestly think he could beat Edwards too, or give him a run for his money at least. Burns is a very well-rounded guy. His grappling is dominant, very heavy top pressure, and a wizard with his BJJ. And also his striking is no joke too. I know when he first got to the UFC, his striking wasn't really up to par, but this guy is a legit striking threat now. He beat the hell out of Chimaev on the feet. And also in the fight before that, he stood toe-to-toe with one of the best strikers in UFC history, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. In the first and third rounds, he grappled a lot. He had like over 3 minutes of control time in each round. But in the second round, he stood toe-to-toe with him. He's just a gamer. He's got great cardio, just great wherever the fight goes. And he's going to be taking on Jorge Masvidal, who went from the baddest motherfucker on the planet to a 3-fight losing skid, all one-sided losses, and a KO that nearly snapped his head right off his shoulders. Granted, one of those fights was on a week's or less than a week's notice against Usman, but still. I used to be a fan of Masvidal's, but that guy just went from someone people respected, especially after those back-to-back wins, that knockout of the century against Ben Askren and that Nate Diaz win. But I think people opened their eyes to see that he's really just a one-trick pony with an anger problem. And he's got, paper thin skin. It's so easy to get under this guy's skin. Now, I hate Colby Covington just as much as the next guy, but he's really good. You can't deny that. And he beat the piss out of Masvidal. And Masvidal literally stalked his social media, found his location, and fucking went and sucker punched him when he least expected it. That was just one of the most pathetic things that a fighter can do.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Just, any Joe Schmo on the street can do that, but you're supposed to be held to a higher standard if you literally beat people up for a living. Kobe was like Pearl Harbor, and Masvidal was like a Japanese airplane. So butthurt by a loss and some trash talk, and that was literally the only way he could get even, just sneaking up behind someone. And honestly, for this matchup, I don't think Masvidal should even be allowed to hold Burns' jockstrap. There's no way in hell he should get into the octagon with him. Burns is just so far ahead skill-wise. I think this fight is going to be a Burns one-sided mauling. I'm thinking by decision. Masvidal is a tough guy, but I just think Burns runs away with this one, so I'm going to be going with Gilbert Burns.